So it's Thursday today. I didn't record, so it's a bit start of video probably. It's 3 o'clock, but I'll show you what I got done. Obviously you saw what we did on Wednesday, so that's that. That's that up. I've just jointed that, so it's a bit wet still. I don't know why I went there, but I'm just going to do some cuts now. It's 3 o'clock. I've got a quarter of a tub of slop, because it is what it is when you get half a tub out on a mixer. I'm going to finish off those little cuts down the other side now. I'm just going to set my sticks up. It's a bit easier this one because I've only got to go, part way up to there, so it'll be a bit easier to get all my sticks on. I've still got to joint the back of that blockwork because it'll still be wet. Played that this morning at 9 o'clock. Look at that, still nice and soft. So we'll do some cuts and then we'll check in with you before I leave. So it's just gone 4:30. I've got all them cuts cut but sat on because I couldn't be bothered to gob one. Got all them cut. Just got them couple left to cut, but I'm gonna probably at morning gobbo them on and then crack on with that in morning if I can get here before fucking 8:30. But unfortunately another guy arrived to do the other one, so I've been shoved off. But now Gaffer said he didn't know about it, so I should have been on these next week, but I'm not. So I've just got this one to do tomorrow, and then I'll probably be back Monday to do all the cuts and probably finish cable up quite high. Finish them off probably Monday, and then yeah. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next clip. Thank fuck it's Friday. So yeah, this is what I got done so far. I think it's 12:30. Check it out. It's time for some Headcam, I think, some pick and dipping. Hey guys, Harry here, and welcome to another Bricklaying vlog. Hope you guys have had a good weekend. I'm just recording this voiceover on the Saturday. This is Friday's footage, as you can see. You've seen the progress through the week. So yeah, it's turned out to be a good job. I think this video sort of shows that you don't need the sort of straightest of work or the most ideal drop. Most people, most bricklayers refer to top outs as, there's no money in top outs. That's the old saying. But if you approach them the right way, even without the best sort of setup, having to mix my own gear and not the fastest forklift driver at times, still managed to get plenty done, just using just a few certain methods. I'm not the fastest by any means. I'm not like the fastest bricklayer who can lay the most gear in a minute or an hour, but throughout the whole day I just try to be super organised, efficient, and I'm able to get plenty done. So this week I was using a few different techniques. You saw me doing the 10 course corner. I did one tooth on the end, to get a bit closer to the edge of my cut line. Basically, I didn't bother putting the string line on until the end, as you've seen. Just checking with the level, making sure all the bricks, run below the truss, and doing the cuts at the end. That's probably one technique that a lot of guys get wrong. So, a lot of guys will do the cuts as they build the gable, which is incredibly slow. If you get the cuts provided, I could definitely see a reason why you'd use the cuts, but even so, I'd still build the meat of the cut up first. It's just so much quicker. Same on the block. I was cutting the blocks with with my cutter, or still saw, or whatever you want to call it. I use a 9-inch cutter grinder, but it's probably easier to cut these 440 concrete blocks with a hammer and chisel. Yeah, it doesn't look as neat, but it does the same job, and it's quicker. So probably recommend using the bolster when cutting the blocks up against the truss. I always leave them a good 20-30 mil lower than the truss line, because depending on the angle you look at the truss, you can easily get your block above the truss, and then the roof will start smashing it about or kicking off, saying he can't get his lats on. So you've got to be wary of that. There's a couple on mine where a few are sneaked over, so
before I finish, I'll just go around with my level, just check everything. Any bits that are just rising above, I'll just get the little cutter out, give it a grind, give it a chip with a hammer and chisel, knock any chunks off. The reason why I wasn't doing it like, you know, the day after is because it's, with it being, you know, mix and mortar or mix and muck, you know, it don't go off as quick as, you know, it takes a couple of days to cure and go off. Some of the stuff that, you know, you get out of silos gets rock hard after a day and proper shites all your trowels up and stuff and gets on all your gear. But this mix and mortar, it's, you know, it still stays nice and sandy and stuff for a couple of days, and it takes a while to go off. So yeah, that's probably, you know, that's why I don't do it. That's why when I was doing my cuts, I like to leave them. So if there is any poking above the truss line, I can just, you know, clip them off with the hammer and nicker, or, you know, cutter them without them pulling away from the wall. Yeah. Also, obviously, you saw me using pick and dip, and I use different methods every time. So, you know, you see me laying, I don't put any furrow in the spread. You know, probably it was popular. I saw it first done by Charlie Collison. He was doing it. I watched him on. I tell a lie. I saw him doing it on the spec mix first, and I thought, why are they doing that? I don't understand. I couldn't get my head around it at the time, because I watched the spec mix probably about 6-7 years. I've been watching it for the last 6 or 7 years before I even knew about YouTube bricklaying. There was sort of nothing on YouTube then. I think there was just old clips of guys breaking the spec mix world record. Really, there wasn't any of this site content a couple of years ago. There was only, you know, a bit of Stu, and then Charlie Collison was the main guy to popularise sort of, you know, lashing bricks down on site. But, you know, the no furrow in the spread is, you know, it makes a lot of sense 90% of the time. You know, these big holes in these bricks, you know, putting a furrow is a waste of time. It's perfect just to do it with no furrows. You know, there's a few arguments if you're probably laying flat concretes, you know, like a brick that has no void for the mortar to go, probably a furrow might be your best bet. But a lot of the time, you know, just the way I'm laying right now is sufficient, and it is really quick as well. It's quick even when I'm doing sort of a front tip pick and dip, where I'm sort of either picking and dipping, or if I don't quite pick enough mortar up because I've not done enough pick and dip with this trowel to gauge it a lot of the time, because it's a little bit narrower, I sometimes don't pick enough up for this type of brick, so I sometimes put a front tip on, and that's why I sort of call it the front tip pick and dip. I know sort of the front tips to just give that extra volume to the perp joint, and then, you know, your sliding motion, your pick and dip motion gets the rest of it. I use a lot of sort of long bed and front tip variant, whether it's traditional or pick and dip, and I mean traditional as in putting the joint on the brick and not sliding it back. You know, there's different ways you can do it, but a combination of both is quite effective. And then when the mortar sort of starts to stiffen up, which it does, you know, I'd say the mixer mortar lasts, you know, probably longer than silo mortar in a way. It stays more workable. I've had silo mortar act very much like mixer mortar before, but the weight's very different. So, you know, normally a tub was lasting me from, I'll just sort of use today as example, because this is sort of where I got used to the mixer. You know, I've been doing it for 4 days, got used to the mixer. And I started laying bricks at about 10 o'clock, and I'd used all the mortar by probably 1. So, you know, you're getting a good 3 hours, and I didn't really need to knock it up. I added a splash of water to the bottom, sometimes just to make it easier to knock up. Sometimes I make it a little bit wet, so that's a thing. Timing getting your mixers out as well. Obviously, this is the same on silo, not so much on ready mix, because obviously you can just order the tub when you need it. But getting the mixers out on a silo or mixer, you know, I think they're comparable speeds. You know, a mixer will take a bit longer, but with a silo you can have a lot of issues. You can have it coming out too stiff. You can have having to change the water pipes over, which is regular. You go on a site and a gang comes to the silo and goes, oh, it's not working, oh, change silo, or they block it up, they don't put enough water on the mix, and it grinds to a halt, you know, with it being a mucky worm or something like that. And that made me laugh, actually. Mucky worm. Sorry, I'm not. That's really made me. Anyway, carry on. keep your train of thought, alright? It's a voiceover. It's serious business. No, so, you know, if the silo's a bit, you know, gets clogged up, you know, you can be spending just as long, you know, putting a silo mix in as you can, you know, with a mixer. This was like a big version of a bell mixer, so you're getting like half a tub per like gauge, or, you know, per bag of cement. Per 25 kilo bag of cement, you were getting half a tub. And you know, 2 of them, it didn't take too long. You know, it's just as quick as you can get the gear into the mixer is as quick as you're going to make the mix. And, you know, you've got to let it knock up for a bit, but, you know, I maybe don't want to let it knock up long enough, but I just add extra plasticizer just to make it more workable. I think it came out, I think it's the best gobbo I've used in years, so I think it was good, and I've knocked it up within about 20 minutes. Probably, you know, I don't think you waste much time waiting for it to knock up. A lot of the time I just go and, you know, I normally go to put a mix in when I either need to get a drink, have a little 5-minute break, have a, you know, chocolate bar or something, or use the toilet or something like that, you know. Just try and, if you're going down for some tyres, go put a mix in, stuff like that. Timing, that's really crucial, you know. I always try to leave myself, you know, a good couple, you know, 2 or 3 full boards worth. When I put my mix in, I'll just leave the gate open. Forklift driver can normally get it on easily, don't really need a lot of guidance. So that's another thing, you know, timing when you get your gear, that can be a massive deal. Obviously getting there early, you know, helps. I'm not you know, I don't have any, I can't really speak when it comes to getting there early. I got to site every day at like 8:30, 8:45. Probably on the money, to be honest. 8:30, 8:45 was exactly the time I got there, so that was the time I arrived on site, not the time I got my boots on, not the time I got my mix in. You know, I wasn't really getting my gobbo till 9:30 a lot of the time, so you can still see with what I got done. I was probably leaving, you know, an hour and a half a day on the table really there. You know, I could have been working an hour extra per day, so if you added all them hours up throughout the whole day, throughout the whole week, you know, probably could have got a lot more done. But that's just the hours that suit me, you know, sort of 8:30 or 4:30, you know, sort of person. That's still 8 hours. In summer I sometimes push it till 5:30, but I just, you know, I need my sleep. You know, I go to bed at a certain time, my body falls asleep at a certain time. I don't like to you know, sacrifice my sleep, you know, for getting to work earlier. A lot of the time, winter, you can't start early, and sometimes and the thing is, everyone else has the same idea. Every other bricklayer out there has the same idea. I like to get there early. That's what everyone I speak to says. I like to get there early and get off early. You know, so if everyone's doing it like that, that's why I'm not doing it like that, because you know, I don't hit the traffic. I don't hit the site traffic. I don't hit, you know, the traffic getting my gobbo out, getting my gear, you know. Also, there's a big difference this week that I've been experimenting with. I did it last year a little bit. No snap time. I'm not going down for a snap. Mel likes to have a snap. So when she works, like this week, she worked with me a day and a quarter. One day she wasn't feeling too good. She wasn't going to come in anyway this week, because I was on a mixer, I was losing a bit of time mixing. And we were so close to his house, you know, there's no, you know, it's not like she's having to travel very far to drop me off, so, you know, a lot of this week was solo, but when Mel does work with me, which is going to be probably like 3-4 days a week, probably 4 days max, you know, I'm probably going to carry on working straight through. I like it. I like the flow. I like just taking a sandwich on the scaffold now, especially in the cold weather. Maybe in the summer I might go and, you know, have a snap. It depends, you know, if there's going to be some downtime, if the forklift driver's gone on his snap and you've run out of gear, it's sometimes worth going for one. But you know, with the hours that I've got used to, you know, working with, you know, the start time at like 8:30, a lot of it's because obviously we've got to get Archie to nursery and stuff. Which we're going to cut down to 2 days a week now, so which will make it easier, you know, to get to work, a bit more repeatable, and with Mel having most Fridays off, sort of takes a little bit of the pressure off me not having to make wages 5 days a week. But yeah, it's sometimes worth going for a snap. But you know, with the hours, you know, with me being able to get an extra hour's working, or at least an extra 45 minutes working a day, without sort of elongating my start and finish times, you know, it's working for me pretty well. You know, even just a chocolate bar or a bit of, you know, like an energy drink or an energy bar or anything like that can be really effective. You know, just keep you going. You know, especially, you know, working solo, you don't have to lay as much gear to make a wage. You know, so you don't really need to do as much. But I try to sort of mimic what I do on my own to what I do with a labourer. I just sort of I've had this view ever since I got a labourer. It's not to make me more money, it's to, you know, make the day easier. Because a lot of the time I can't find a labourer who can keep up a lot of the time with getting my gear constantly, doing everything correctly, which is a big deal, you know. Like when because I've worked on my own this week for most of the week, everything went right because I got I did the mortar, I mixed it correctly, you know, I got the bricks where I wanted them. You know, the 40 driver brought me everything I wanted it, which a lot of the time, you know, a labourer can mess it up, and I've had it happen. I've seen it happen. I used to when I asked my old man once to get me a tub, you know, I got a tub full of soup, which wasn't, he only did it once because he realised how much of an art using the silo is and how much of an art getting gobbo is correctly. It takes a lot of experience, so I sort of try and take that part out of it, you know, for labourers. But, you know, and as well, you know, that's why as well I was doing the big corners. So we're on to the next thing I was doing this week. I was doing the 12 course corners, the 10 to 12 course corners with a little tooth. I can't remember if I've covered this already, but, you know, very effective for if you've got limited mortar on the boards. So normally, you know, these Gorilla tubs I use, if you fill it up, it's equivalent to like 2 buckets. You know, it's quite efficiency, time saving wise. They're heavy, you get, you know, crap on your gloves, but if you have a spare pair of gloves, I've got a couple in the box, they're called loading out gloves. I just whip them off. Takes, you know, 5-10 seconds, whip them off, put your other gloves on, and then, you know, go and fill your boards up and then change your gloves back over. You know, you can have a crappy pair of gloves and you don't have to knacker up my laying pair. I've got like the winter, you know, the winter thick loading out gloves. You know, it's quite effective, those Gorilla tubs. I'm going to make a separate review on them, but the Ox Gorilla tubs I use the medium size. I think it's the 20 litre, 15 or 20 litre one. You know, they hold as much gear, well, a bit more gear than one of those yellow buckets, but they don't break. The yellow buckets, a lot of the times, you get the cheapo ones, the fake invincible buckets. There's not very many around, and even the proper invincible buckets don't last as long as these Gorilla tubs. You can throw them, you can do everything with them. They clean out very easy as well since they're rubber. You know, and once, you know, you can always clean them. I found even if you leave them clarted up, they'll come off. The rubber will come off. Well, the mortar will come off the rubber. You just need to try not to scrape them out. That's one thing that I think a lot of guys do. They start scraping the buckets. Don't do that if you're a labourer. Just tap leave the bucket, you know, surface as smooth as you can. That's how you'll keep getting a repeatable, you know, nice slide out of when you're getting your gobbo. That's another thing I was using. You know, in the past I was carrying 2 paint buckets. You know, whereas with the Gorilla tub, I find you can get, you know, 2 buckets worth in a Gorilla tub. It's not too heavy because you're not having to carry 2 lots of buckets. And then when I'm like, you know, I can sometimes drag it around the scaffold if I need to. But I thought the Gorilla tub's been really good. And you don't have to carry as many buckets as well. And you don't have that problem with the handles where they get snagged, the metal bent handles. So really good for when I was on my own. And that's normally what I do, 2 of them buckets onto a board, stack of bricks, build a big corner. You know, I'll use about a Gorilla tub and a half to build a big 10 course corner, and then the other side move over, and then I'll limit my boards in the middle. You know, I'm only have to fill 2 or 3 boards up, and normally 3 boards is, you know, 2 Gorilla tubs on each, you know, 4 buckets full on each board. That's why you see them piled really high, and then you can knock out a lot of gear at once, you know. And as well, loading out your gear, get your gear loaded. I know a lot of guys who work solo only load as much as they're gonna lay for that day, but you know, up that number, you know, load out 400 bricks, you know, 60 blocks, even 500 bricks, then you encourage yourself to lay that amount. Like, I loaded out probably today 500 bricks in this video. I laid all of them. I think I laid around, I think I counted it, I laid about 400 odd bricks on this gable, and about 50 blocks, something like that. But I had an extra loaded out. I always load out, you know, 100 or 200 extra, and then the following day, you know, whether I'm with Mel or I'm on my own, we've got something loaded out in front, and we can load a little bit more out in front the next day. And like the end of this video, which you don't see, I didn't film it, I ought to film my loading out a bit more. Then I went and got, I had a pack of bricks always on the loading bay, always have like 2 lots of gear on the loading bay. Not even if you don't need to use it for half a day, or even a day, have that gear there. You know, a lot of guys, you know, they only get what they need and just get what you need even for the next day, you know. So I had a pack of bricks. I only needed like 2 or 3 bands, or I only needed 2 bands on that day, but the rest of the bricks I loaded out before I left. So I loaded them out off the loading bay so I could get a tub on, you know, stuff like that. Always be thinking, always be, you know, making stuff, you know, work for yourself. So yeah, that's sort of the video. You saw me doing the one, you know, the one brick pick and dip again, very quick. I managed to lay about 150 bricks in 45 minutes with that method on the other peak. I got the gobbo perfect, and you can really get some. You can really get a lot of bricks down. You know, I know everyone's talking about the sort of like 10 bricks a minute sort of thing, but you know, if you could do 7 bricks a minute consistently, you know, 7 bricks a minute, you know, times that by, I don't know, what's that, like 10 minutes, that's 70 bricks. You know, 140 bricks in 45 minutes isn't, you know, it isn't 7 bricks a minute. You know, it's probably slower than that, but you know, consistency is a lot. And if you could keep, you know, knocking out those 150 runs with little 8-course corners, 10-course corners, 6-course as well. I'm going to experiment with the 6-course corners as well. I've been doing the 10 because of gobbo reasons, but 6 is also very fast, so I'm going to try out next time I get on something like this, 6-course corner. Before I get to the end of the video as well, next video's drop, you saw that I wasn't going on those other top outs because the other bricklayers were there, but I've dropped on something potentially better. I'm on a retaining wall. I think from what site labour were telling me, and I've not looked at it myself yet, so I'm going off what site labour has told me, but there, and I've seen another one very similar. It's like a retaining wall. I think it's already pre-formed concrete behind, so it's like skinning up, you know, pure bricks up a retaining wall. So they're really good straight runs. So that should last me, depending on how big it is, you know, a day or 2, maybe 3, depending on how. It has to be really big for that though. So yeah, I'm on a retaining wall on Tuesday because I'll just be finishing off this one on Monday and the cuts and stuff. So Tuesday I'm going to get some footage on the retaining wall. I don't know whether I'm going to use profiles. I might use the freestanding, you know, a bit of wood with the aluminiums. It can be good, but sometimes I think building the corner's better. You know, I can bang out, especially if it's a stop end, I can bang out, you know, like I don't know, like a 20-course corner pretty quick, you know, to a stop end with my 6-foot level. So especially being mixer mortar as well, you've got to work to what sort of mortar you've got. You know, if you're going to be setting profiles up, you know, you're wasting sort of time, especially I do because I don't get there early. I'll be wasting time when I could be just, you know, building, you know, with my mortar, depending on how good I can get access to the gobbo, you know, stuff like that. So it's all that thing to think about, and all those things put together can lead to a good week. So, you know, I think this was a PB solo. At the end of the video, I say it's one of my top 4 earners, but I think it's my number 1 earner. I think it's definitely my number 1 earner actually. Now I actually add it up. But there's one thing I do that obviously I don't book in. If say I've earned, you know, for argument's sake, 1,500 quid, I'll not book all that in. You know, you got to leave a couple hundred, you know, for the next week. and then you can build up. You know, you could always have a little bit in reserve to start off the week. It's mainly when you've got a labourer. Obviously, Mel's not always in, so I don't always have to make her wages, but you know, she gets a wage most of the time anyway, from the generosity of me. But you know, always don't go all in. Don't take all, put all your eggs in one basket. Keep a bit in reserve for, a day where you lose a bit of time, stuff like that. It's a good way. That's what I did when I worked solo for 6 months. I always left myself 150 quid on whatever work I was doing every week, and 150 quid is a good number, and it just tops your wages up every day, even if you lose a bit of time or you don't get a full day in. Really effective to do. So anyway, guys, that's my little bit of method and methodology behind earning some good money on your own. And while I'm on the video, I'll actually count. I'll show you what I laid this week. So I'll find the measurement. I'll find the count up that I did. Right, 2 seconds. So this week I had a little check. I laid about 1,600 bricks and about 220 blocks solo. I basically loaded out all my gear bar a pack of blocks Mel loaded out, and probably like a couple of bands of bricks she loaded out and got me some gobbo on one of the days. But that's all getting it myself, so there's no reason why you can't lay 300 or 400 bricks a day solo, and maybe even I don't know, 50 blocks a day solo. So 400 bricks, 50 blocks a day, with a little bit of loading up in between. I mean, it's easily done. A lot of guys would probably say that's achievable numbers, but when you're solo, you're not having to play a labourer, using a bit of efficiency, getting the gear down. It's hard work as well. That's one thing that people don't want to take away from it. It's very hard. I'm fit enough to maintain my speed. I sort of try to do everything the easy way, maintain your speed, maintain your energy. So it's not a lot of gear, 400 bricks a day and 50 blocks. It's not an amazing amount of gear, but you're able to earn well over $1.5 in a week, easily, with the hours I do, which are somewhat lazy man's hours. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Put a bit of music on, and you can see me doing the final few picks and dips. And I like to go backwards as well sometimes. Backwards is nice, mixes it up. I'm going to try out a few different methods with a Fitz brick, and with Mel moving the line up, so I can just keep going from one end to the other. Alright guys, thanks all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back. wait to leave this town, 'cause lately I've been feeling down. The cold nights just don't feel the same. Oh, like my life inside a car. Hit the button, drive real far. Put that record on me like, oh, I'm dreaming of you. I dream of a new night. Fight in the dark till we see the sunlight. My love, it's you and I. Close, close and cool at this fight. So reach for the stars, 'cause we're aiming high. You can't wait to see me now, 'cause lately you've been feeling down. You lay awake alone at night. Oh, like your life inside a car. Forget the world and drive real far. Put that record on again. Oh, my love, it's you and I. Close, close and cool at this fight. So reach for the stars, 'cause we're aiming high. I'm dreaming of you. I dream of a new night. Fight in the dark till we see the sunlight. My love, it's you and I. Close, close and cool at this fight. So reach for the stars, 'cause we're aiming high. I can't wait to leave this town. I can't wait to leave this town, 'cause lately I've been feeling down. I can't wait to leave this town, 'cause lately I've been feeling down.
So that's what I got done today. Not far off of the top there. I'm about 9 course away from top, so hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Right. It's probably one of my top 4 weeks this week, solo. So yeah, it's one of my top 4 earners. Number 1 of 2022. Right, see you in the next one. We've got a day left on Monday, and then we're doing a retaining wall. There's a retaining wall in here still, so a bit more mix your own life for another few days. So yeah, should be a good straight run. I'd like to get some retaining wall footage for next week. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching, have a good weekend, and I will see you in the next one. Happy days! Ow!